Welcome. I'm Dr. Brian Faulkner, and I'm the music director here at First Presbyterian Church in Lincoln. During the pandemic, sharing music with our congregation and with the community has been a challenge, so we've tried to come up with different things that we could do. One of the ideas I have had is a virtual organ tour. We have had our organist, Dr. Charles Orr, do organ demonstrations before, but it's never been practical to have people going through the organ chambers themselves, so most people never get to see inside the organ. But in this virtual world now, that is something we can do. So we're going to take you on a virtual tour and let you see inside the chambers of the organ.
The organ was invented by an engineer, a Greek engineer. His name was Ctesibius. What Ctesibius did was put together a system of pipes that was able to have a continuous flow of air. And I'm saying all of this during the time when Brian is walking to through the organ and we're getting to the place of where some of the pipes are. Now listen, there are two ways in which the organ makes its sound primarily. It's through either labial pipes. This is a Zimbelstern, by the way. This is actually one of the percussion instruments within the organ, and chimes would be another one. But the organ that's the labial pipes, most of the ones of which you're looking at now, sound like this. And really very much like a flute. We're looking at pipes that are shaped in various ways and of various lengths. Shorter pipes make higher pitches, longer pipes make lower pitches. And if that was a labial, here's a lingual. This is a pipe that's got a tongue in it. Listen to this. So when you're seated in the sanctuary, and I'm playing the horizontal trumpets at the back of the church, those are lingual pipes, pipes that have tongues. And we're looking at pipes essentially directly in back of the main set of pipes in the sanctuary. Now we're looking out of that chamber, which is called the Great Chamber, and these are the main pipes that are in the front of it. We call these the principals. They're some of the major pipes. We're looking out and we're looking at, I want you to keep in mind, what am I looking at? These are labial pipes. These are pipes that have a mouth, some smaller, some larger. I don't intend this to be an advanced class. These wires that you're looking at right now, these are lingual pipes, and those are tuned by pushing these little wires up and down, and that can make the pipe either speak at a higher pitch or a lower pitch. The pipes themselves are made of what we call pipe metal. They're different alloys. Those pipes are held up by these strings attached to a rack to keep them from bending over. Walking through the organ, one of the things that you notice right away, all right, essentially this is one of the things that you'll see here are these swell shades, or what we call louvers, that used to be the organ either louder or softer by closing those or opening them up. They're kind of like Venetian blinds. Okay, over here, we also see some lingual pipes on the left side, and essentially they're just different collections of open and closed pipes. These little pipes with the chimneys in them that you see here are called a roar flute. And we see a metal capped pipe right beside it. By capping the pipe, it gives different harmonics, and hence we hear different timbres or colors from different pipes. That's essentially what's going on. Some pipes are cylindrical, others are conical. These that you see are here toward the back of that wall are conical. Oh yeah, here's something that's coming up very interesting. These are what we call mitered pipes, pipes that are too tall to stand up in the chamber, so they have to be bent over, and it's done very carefully, of course, but they're cut and then reassembled so that they can fit. These are all what we call principal pipes. They're labial. They have a mouth. This is a roar flute right here in front of those that with a little bit of a chimney sticking up. Some pipes that are held up by these strings to keep them from bending over. Some pipes are made of wood, and they're square, obviously you can see, and they have stoppers in the top. Other pipes are metal. There's some more wooden mitered pipes back there. It's extremely fascinating, and I wish you could all take a tour through it, but that is not physically possible. The organ wouldn't like that at all, to have several hundred people walking through it. Okay, we're looking here at just a series of labial pipes. There's a sliding door between two different chambers. Right here we go. To the right here, we see some wooden pipes. That's a gedacht, which in German means covered. Of course, organs in various traditions in Italy and France and Germany and England all grew up. There's more mitered pipes here in metal pipes. These are called walkboards. You can imagine this is that blank space. Here actually are some names of, this is called a stop diapason. And if you go way over to the left side, that's where the stop diapason's at. There is the stop diapason in wood with the stopper in the top. This is a quintadina, or quintaton, and this is a metal-covered pipe that, again, has a strong sense of the fifth, from the unison pitch to a fifth higher. La, 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 la. And it gives it a very interesting harmonic sound. And we're always trying to blend different sounds together. The little pipes that you see in kind of clusters are called mixtures. They're pipes that are so small that this is a doublet. Notice for one thing of how clean everything is. I can't believe it, really. I had expected much more dust. It's a mitered pipe again. On the upper part of the right screen, you'll see mitered pipes with a stopper in the top. This, again, had to be accommodated just to make extra room. To the left, you see some pipes that are tied up. Pipe metal, we want it to be as thin as we can because that way it becomes more harmonically interesting. But if it gets to be too thin, then it tends to collapse under its own weight. So it's a kind of a gamble. I'll talk a little bit more about pipe metals as we proceed on through these various pictures. The interesting things here might be to the far right, upper right, there's another mitered pipe. We see another gedacht, a wooden pipe that's with a stopper in the top, right next to the walkboard to the right side. And then we see a very small set of probably a 2-foot over here to the far left. We're looking here, I'm going to say a few different words. We're looking here at the 16-foot quintuton. Obviously, it's not a 16-foot quintuton by any means. I mean, a 16-foot pipe, really, that's covered needs to be 8 feet tall. That means the column of air moves up through the pipe 8 feet and comes back down 8 feet and makes it sound the lowest note on the keyboard, which is low C. Keyboards generally in most organs, and surely the one at First Presbyterian, have 61 keys. There are 61 notes in each different set of pipes. In the pedal, there are 32 notes. We have next to the quintuton, we have an 8-foot viol celeste. Now, a celeste means that for every stop in the or every pipe that's on that rank, there are 2 pipes that are sounding. And the celeste means that you tune one slightly sharp or slightly flat. An undamaris might be slightly flat. A celeste would be slightly sharp. And then the 2 of them set up a sympathetic vibration between the 2 sets of pipes. And they actually kind of go, whoa, 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 whoa. More beautiful, of course, than that. But and that causes it to have a particular sound that we call strings in the organ. There are no real strings in the organ. That's really not true, but that's what they're known as. And here, just again, a series of pipes. You'll see the ones to the far left are principal pipes. They have a slot tuner at the top. You can see kind of a slot that's opened at the top. Various pipes have different ways of being tuned. More to the middle, you'll see pipes that are lingual pipes. Those can also be tuned through these slots or on the wire, they call it sometimes too. We're looking at louvers. Okay, we're actually looking out into the sanctuary from where the pipe rooms are. And these louvers I control with my feet to, if Brian looks at me and says, have it softer, sometimes if I'm playing on, at least on pipes that are in chambers that have louvers, I can close them down and make it softer. All right, now this should be a look that's very familiar to members of the congregation, because now I'm on the outside of the chamber and I'm looking at these cuts in the wall. Immediately in back of these cuts in the wall are those louvers that you saw earlier that can be closed, opened or closed. And at the far left side, you see some principal pipes. And the principal pipes are the ones that are probably the most aggressive pipes and the ones that are used to lead congregation singing, or when you hear the organ sounding fairly full in the room. These are the kinds of pipes that are speaking. These are called principal pipes. This is a very familiar view for all of you who have been in this church and have heard the organ, or actually been inside the church, because these are the pipes that are straight in front of you, and these are all principal pipes. Notice how the toe of the pipe, or the foot of the pipe, in some instances very tall, and in some instances they're relatively short. That's done just simply for design purposes. It doesn't influence the sound one way or another, but you'll find pipes here in these principals that are going from very large to very small. but you also now have seen a little bit of what's going on directly in back of these pipes. That's where a great deal of the interest is. I thought that was interesting. You can actually see down into the sanctuary through the front of these pipes. And so you can actually get a little idea of how the organ looks to anybody who's in the organ chamber. Now, one of the things that Eusebius used, he was the one who invented the organ, supposedly, in 3rd century BC. But he used water to displace, to flood an area, and then had the air kind of rushing out of it. I can imagine how this would work. But this picture that we're looking at now shows these wind lines, and to the left side you see these boxes, and they are used to house pressured air. Now, an organ typically runs in air pressure from about 3 to 6 inches more than we experience in life in general on the planet. So our air pressure inside these chambers is, you can go inside and be reasonably comfortable. They're almost big enough you can climb into them. I've been in some of them before. Austin organs used to make their chests so that you could climb inside and watch the action take place. But you see these big lines these actually look like sewer pipes, but they're actually air trunk lines. And these are sealed tight with leather, and you have to be very careful that they don't break, split, so to speak. There's a blower inside that actually provides the air that is pressurized. You see over here on the kind of a little bit on the left side, you see springs that are used to build pressure inside the organ. And sometimes you see weights on top of these bellows as well that are used to increase the amount of air pressure. Like, I'm sure that the organ, the trumpet in the back of the church is on much higher wind pressure.